Good morning. So I can't see you too well, but who here was able to ride your bike or walk to the theater today? All right. So in a few years, I really hope that more of you can raise your hand who'll be able to ride and walk here today, because it's very possible that soon Phoenixville is going to be connected on the Schuylkill River Trail, which is going to go all the way from Pottsville in Berks County all the way down to Fort Mifflin near the airport. So what I want to talk to you about today is how to get there. And I think the only way we're going to get there is if we have leadership. And the kind of leadership we need is the kind that was brought to our country by President Dwight D. Eisenhower. Now, most people don't think of Eisenhower, I don't think, as sort of he is one of our great American presidents and a great leader, but he probably isn't the kind of person who comes right to mind when you think of leadership. But the reason I bring him in is that he was a man of logistics, and it helped him win World War II, and he brought it to our country by establishing the National Highway System, which totally transformed our country in the 50s. We now have 47,000 miles of highways in the United States. It cost about $500 billion to build, and it totally transformed our economy. It had a huge transformation on our environment. But his leadership really made that happen. It wouldn't have happened without him. And what we need is a 21st century Eisenhower to build a new transportation network for our region. So we all live with the highway system every day, right? I bet many of you drove here today on I-95 or 76. I came on 76. 476, 276, we have highways everywhere. We also have 23,000 miles of roads, which weave a web around our entire region. And they move about 110 million vehicle miles a day, which is pretty phenomenal. So that's one big, huge transportation network that we have here. We have another one, which is a passenger and freight rail system that is, I don't think it's rivaled throughout the country. So we have SEPTA, our transit system. It's the 5th largest in the country. It moves. It has 340 million trips a year. 30th Street Station, it's Amtrak's 3rd busiest station. 3.7 million people go through there every day. So we have these two incredible thriving networks. You add on top of that our aviation network and our port network, and we have these 4 fantastic transportation networks. But we're missing one. And what we're missing is a trail network. We could have a trail network that would help make the region stronger economically, but maybe even more importantly, it would make all of us healthier. We'd have a more sustainable lifestyle. We'd be much better connected than we are today, and it'd be a much more desirable place to live. So this is the 5th missing network. And in order to get there, or the vision for this network is that you would be able to go out of your house and go in any direction, north, south, east, or west, and you'd be able to spend all day on trails. So this morning, if I'd gotten up even earlier than I did, I would have been able to ride my bike all the way up here in 2.5 hours to Phoenixville, give this talk, get back on the trail, maybe go out to Downingtown on the Chester Valley Trail, or if I didn't want to go in that direction, I could have gone to New Hope over in Bucks County, or I could have gone all the way back to Philadelphia, all day on trails. So not only would a trail system be able to get you around, but it would make you healthier, and most importantly, you'd have fun. Now, how many can you say that about our road network or rail? So I have 4 main points to make about this. Why should we do this? Well, first of all, it is totally doable. I'm not talking about a fantasy dream, a pipe dream. If we could build 450 more miles of trails and add them on to the 50 miles that are getting built right now and the 250 miles that we already have, we'd have a 750-mile network. So 750 miles of a 12-foot wide trail in a region that already has 23,000 miles of roads, I think that's doable. Secondly, it is totally affordable. It's chump change when you compare it to what we spend on transportation. So if we do the math, to get 450 miles, we would need about $250 million. It sounds like a lot of money, but it's not really. If you spread it out over 20 years, it's $12.5 million a year. You compare that to what it takes to rebuild 7 miles of I-95, which is $2 billion. This is really a small amount of money. And even to just give you more perspective, the whole region spends about $1 billion a year on highways, roads, and transit annually. It sounds like today we have no money, there's no money for anything, but actually there is money that comes to the region that does get spent on paving roads and going into our transit system, and it's at a rate of about $1 billion, a little bit more a year. So for 1% of what we spend on roads and highways and transit, we could build our trail network. So the third big important reason is that it brings us huge benefits and multiple benefits, not just one kind of benefit. First of all, it can bring benefits to everybody, children, the elderly, families, singles, underserved communities, overserved communities. It's really indiscriminatory, and that's pretty amazing. Secondly, it can bring a much healthier lifestyle to people and give them that kind of access. Allows them to commute, to fight obesity, to recreate, and all those things come packaged up with trails. Thirdly, it provides so much more access and connection between communities and between individuals. And I'll be speaking about that a little bit in a minute, but the last thing is that it brings a lot of economic development. The Radnor Trail in Delaware County, which is about 1 mile long, has had a huge impact on that community. And real estate values near that trail have risen about $70,000. And that comes from an Economy League study that was done just a few years ago. The lower Schuylkill River, if you've ever been down there in the center city, there are high-rises beginning to crop up. And one big reason is because of the access right directly to the trail. So all 4 of those are incredible benefits that trails can bring to a region. So right now, about 1/4 of the population lives within 1 mile of a trail. If we could build out this entire trail network, all those benefits that I was speaking about could be expanded to half of the population. So that's another dimension to the benefits. So in terms of the access, this is what's really cool about trails. It connects people together who are currently separated. This is the Manayunk Bridge, and it has been out of commission, inactive since the mid-'80s. It was built in the 1800s. It's a beautiful stone bridge that connects Lower Merion over here, over to Manayunk. Lower Merion built itself a trail here called the Kinwood Heritage Trail. And over here, you've got the Schuylkill River Trail. And you've got 2 communities that have been split apart, cut off by I-76. It was built 30 to 40 years ago. In a year, a trail will be built across on top of this bridge. So people from Lower Merion are going to be able to walk or ride their bike across, get down, and go down here to the restaurants, which is pretty awesome. So you've got this bedroom community here that doesn't have a lot of places to go to eat. And you've got this wonderful community here that has lots of places to eat and wants everybody here to come over. Lower Merion has the Kinwood Station, but that station is only really operates for mostly during commuting hours. So also people are going to be able to walk across, and eventually, when the trail gets built up to the Ivy Ridge Station, they're going to be able to walk across, get on the Ivy Ridge train, and go into Center City. So this is a kind of multiple benefits that it's going to bring, and not only that, it's going to be this incredible destination where you're going to have these awesome views up and down the Schuylkill River, and I think it's going to rival the High Line in New York City. This is the 58th Street Greenway or corridor that was built in lower southwest Philadelphia. This is a community that doesn't get a lot of new infrastructure, and it was built with a federal grant that the city of Philadelphia won in 2010. So this high quality shared use path connects from Cobb's Creek over to the west, all the way over to Bartram's Garden, which sits on the Schuylkill River. So this is an example of a wonderful facility that can come into an area that doesn't have a lot of access to green space and provide it to them once it's done. And thirdly, right here, Phoenixville has opened up a piece of the Schuylkill River Trail. This is the Gay Street Bridge right behind us. I think the next slide here, this is a map that shows you where we are. There's Phoenixville. The green is what I just showed you, the trail right there. And soon, the trail is going to be complete. This is under construction. It's going to be completed so that it links up here to Spring City. This is also in existence. This is the Schuylkill River Trail. The Claremont Bridge is going to get some kind of new bicycle, make it easier and safer to walk across the bridge. And then you're going to be in Montgomery County. You can be able to get on the Schuylkill River Trail along the canal that's getting redone, and then continue on all the way south. So these are all examples of how trails can bring a lot more connections to communities. So the fourth big important reason why trails are important is because they add value. They're going to add a lot of value to those networks that I mentioned before and increase their efficiency. For example, they'll reduce congestion on roads and extend the life of those roads. They're going to help SEPTA increase ridership in transits, and especially in suburban communities where those transit stops can't take any more people because there aren't enough parking spaces. You have trails that connect to those transit stops. People are going to be able to start to take the train when they couldn't before. So the trail network can help knit together these four existing networks so they can function as one integrated system, not 4 or 5 separate ones. And also make them much more relevant for today. Our road system and trail system and train system was designed 50 to 100 years ago for travel patterns that don't really exist anymore. Just as an example, suburban office parks that are trying to attract young workers having a hard time. Those young workers want to live in the city. They need ways to get people to their locales without some way of doing that without having to get in the car and drive for an hour. So there's a common misperception, I think, that trails are really all about this, which is, they're wonderful, these backcountry trails, but they really need to be thought of as more like this. They're human highways. And they have the potential, this is what Schuylkill Banks down in Center City looks like today, but many more parts of the trail system can look like that too. And there are many who believe that only highways and bridges deserve any investment. And I think that's a 1950s view, not a 21st century one. We have the internet and mobile technology now that's completely changing transportation. People, millennials especially, want car sharing, bike sharing, ride sharing, real-time information. We need a transportation system that can provide all that. So I hope I've made a good case for why we need this investment. And we need a 21st century Eisenhower to help do that. But I don't really see any 21st century Eisenhower. But I do see that we all can do that. We can be the 21st century Eisenhower. We live in a DIY, do-it-yourself world, so we can unite together and make the case for this investment. And so the call to action that I want to leave you with is to join me and join with others who are putting together that call of action and asking leaders to make this kind of investment by making this case at the county level in particular. We are running a campaign now, and when I say we, I mean the Circuit Coalition, which is 30 different organizations. We are running a campaign where we ask our elected officials at the county level to set aside $10 million into a fund that would be dedicated to trails. This fund would then leverage other monies to get us to that $12.5 million that we need in order to build out the system and make this all possible, make this all green by the year 2035. So you can help out today by seeing me afterwards in the back. We have postcards that we're asking people to fill out and get there, and which we will then take to county commissioners and ask them to create that fund and make it so that building out this entire trail system, making our whole region a better place to live is possible. Thank you.